So it looks like they're going to force Carolyn into a nursing home. I guess I'm giving them ammo in this video. You can hear her, I would imagine, splashing the water for the laundry in her bucket and plunger. She does that maybe once, maybe twice a week. She does laundry. Today she changed out the bed sheets, so there's a lot of extra laundry. Of course, she has to hang the laundry outside. And in the summertime, I think it's a little bit easier for her. She uses those sinks outside. We have 2 sinks. They're wash tub sinks. And I keep them full at all times. So anytime she wants to do laundry, all she got to do is just take it out there and do it. And the thing is she doesn't have to use the plunger. She can use a basket like this, put the laundry in the basket, and then agitate it like a wash machine. A little bit easier. And then she has the other sink to do the rinse. So all she's got to do, I don't know if that's true. She wrings them out, and I'll show you how she wrings them out here in a minute. But in the wintertime, she's got to bring the laundry inside. She has to do it in a bucket. But the thing is that she can use hot water. So here you see our hot water heater. I should say water heater for the critics out there. It's not hot water, it's a water heater. If water was already hot, you wouldn't need a heater. I get it. So this is our little camping water heater. It runs off propane. It's really simple to operate. Water comes in through this hose here, and when it senses water is going through the tank, you'll hear this tick, 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 just like you do on a barbecue pit. They got those little electric igniters. Same thing. It's got an electric igniter. This one's not working correctly right now, the electric igniter. Not sure why. Of course, we have a backup one in case this one ever goes out. I'm a little disappointed. This one's not even a year old and it's already having troubles. The other one was 6 years old and it still hasn't had troubles. We took it down because we thought there was a problem with it. Replaced it with this new one. And then we realized it was the water pump. We use an RV water pump to pump water into the water heater here. But once we had a problem with the clicker thing, we realized, this is a good idea. So what we did was we opened up the battery door. So if we want cold water, this thing doesn't kick on. It kicks on every time you want to use it. You can turn it down. You can turn down the heat and you can turn up the heat, and it's instant, on demand. But when we realized if we just open the door on this, we can have cold water, which is pretty nice if you want to fill up your coffee pot or a pan of water. You don't want to use hot water. You're just wasting propane. Now all we had to do is just turn on the water, shut the battery door. I don't know if you heard it click, but it clicked, and now hot water is coming out. You might be able to see the blue flame up there. I've showed this several times. Sometimes we can see it, sometimes we can't. And it's instant hot water. Then you shut it off. We open up the battery door just so the next person that wants to use it doesn't turn on the water heater. Now the nice thing is in the past, we would turn up the water heater to a temperature that was comfortable for us, but then have to turn it back down. So we actually wasted more water trying to adjust the temperature. But now we just leave the temperature where it is and just leave the battery door open. The point of the water heater conversation is, in the wintertime, she can have warm water. The water gets pretty cold on her hands when she has to pick this laundry up and do whatever she's going to do with it. She's got a laundry dryer is what it's called. Really is just kind of a wringer. It wrings out the clothes. She really likes this. She likes it so much she may buy her a backup one. So that's how important it is. Everything we have backups on is important to us. So this thing spins so you can put laundry in it. Now a lot of people are going to say that doesn't hold much laundry. It actually holds quite a bit, and it doesn't take a lot of spinning. 2 or 3 pulls on these ropes. There's a rope on each side and it spins. I've showed this several times. Somebody's going to complain, you showed that before, but I always have to explain it because Carolyn's always in trouble. I replace the bearings on this quite frequently. They're sealed bearings, but there's so much water involved with this that I just replace them. I always have a set of spare bearings, and if I can't get to it right away, I can just pull the other one down. She can use the other one. That gives her a little bit of exercise. You know, people go to the gym and spend big money to exercise pulling ropes. Well, here she has an exercise machine, and that apparently is abuse. Now here's the tubs I was talking about. Right now they're full of rainwater and it's all iced up. So we don't use them in the wintertime. But in the summertime, I keep them full. We have lids for them to keep the leaves out. So she can come out anytime she wants to and do laundry. Now, of course, she hangs out the laundry. And a lot of people have complained that the laundry is too close to the house, the sidewalk, an eyesore. If I put them out in the woods or anything, people complain, you're making Carolyn go all the way out to the woods. You can't win for losing. I need to explain something. If Carolyn wanted a wash machine, she'd have a wash machine. If Carolyn didn't want to live off grid, we wouldn't live off grid. And I know this about myself. We were nomads. And I was okay with it. I was making a living on YouTube, and I had my other job. Of course, that other job I've closed down. I was making money, and we were traveling. It wasn't always convenient. There was problems with it, but it was better than what we had before. And she said, you know, it's time to quit. She didn't want to do it anymore. There was just too much anxiety, and the national forests were getting crowded with little better than homeless people. And I know people are going to say, well, you were homeless too. My definition is if you could leave anytime, leave the lifestyle anytime, you weren't homeless. Some people were being forced to live that lifestyle. That's homeless. When you're living in your car because you have to. Now, the tiny house is a big complaint because she doesn't have a kitchen. We're minimalist. We don't have a lot of stuff. We don't have a lot of furniture. We lived in I would imagine, a 400 square foot house before we became nomads. We pretty much just lived in the living room. Of course, we had a bedroom. Kitchen, we were so busy, we never had time to do dishes. So dishes would stack up, and then on Saturday, she would do the dishes and I would cut the grass. And this is the perfect lifestyle, according to a lot of people, is you have to kill yourself 6-7 days a week and then come home and do more chores. But Carolyn enjoys cooking outside. This was her idea, to have a stove outside. And it's a little propane stove. Every time I say this, somebody's gonna say, oh, you're procrastinating or whatever. One of these days we may get an actual stove. We know what we're looking for. We don't look that hard. She's pretty happy with these little stoves. That one she specifically ordered. This is what's so funny to me. People pay big bucks to be able to barbecue with firewood. They go camping on the weekends so they can cook with firewood. And she's got her little setup here. I mean, the whole thing is designed by her. I built a lot of it. But she can have a rocket stove or oven or whatever she wants here. She can have an oven here. And I get so many complaints about her having to come out here and cook on the fire. She likes cooking on the fire. That's the thing about Carolyn, is she finds this stuff really relaxing. When I do laundry or when I'm splitting wood, my brain's always thinking. I'm always, trying to calculate something out and how to improve the process and, trying to engineer everything. But with Carolyn, she is trying to slow her brain down. Yeah, I guess with anxiety, you do try to slow down. You don't want everything stressing you out. So she turns on her headphones, listens to a little music, and does the laundry. Sometimes I have to remind her, you've been plunging that for a long time. 15 minutes is what she likes to plunge it for. She figures it's good and clean by then. But there's times that she'll plunge it for an hour, and are you going to stop? I've even gotten to the point where I'll set a timer so she can get out of her trance. Well, the same thing with cooking. She comes out here and just kind of drifts off. I mean, what better life is that, where you can just kind of shut your brain down and not have to worry about things? She comes out here and splits a lot of this kindling. I don't even know why she does it. We've got so much kindling, it just drive you mad. We got all this pile of wood over here that we've deemed not usable with the wood stove. So she's using that for kindling. And she'll come out here with the moisture tester just to make sure that none of this wood can be used in the wood stove. And she finds some that can be used. So she's saving these pieces, taking them in for the wood stove, but the rest she uses for her cooking. Most people beg for this, just time off to go camping. And here we can camp anytime we want. If I said, hey, let's travel the country, be nomads, living in a truck, a lot of people say, hey, that's a great idea. A lot of people dream that idea. So we're doing the same thing here. We're living a nomadic lifestyle, except without the travel. We've minimized our lives, just like we did in the truck. Thing is, things are so much easier here. We don't have to abide by other people's rules, because when you're in a national forest, you got to abide by their rules. We don't have to leave after 2 weeks. I I mean, think about the inconvenience of doing laundry on a national forest. Of course, you got to hang up ropes so you can do your laundry, and you just feel like an absolute idiot doing laundry out in the national forest where everybody can see you. The problem is you got to time everything just perfectly. You get 40 gallons of water every 2 weeks. Otherwise, you got to go back out and get some more water, possibly lose your campsite. And you got to do your laundry on days that it doesn't rain before you have to leave. So you got to time everything out. And if you mess it up, then you're traveling around with wet clothes and they mold and smell. Then the other thing that Carolyn does that she absolutely doesn't have to, and I was even talking to Dad about this today, if Carolyn were to die before me, I wouldn't do this aspect of it. But she makes homemade chicken food for the chickens. She spends a lot of time during the day doing that, grinding up the corn in that grain mill. I showed you that grain mill before. I wouldn't do that, but she does it. And he says the thing is if she said she didn't want to do it, I don't think you would make her to do it, and I wouldn't. It's not even a thing that I even thought of. Everything she does with the chicken food, she does because she came up with the idea and wants to do it. Saves cost, it's healthier for the chickens, whatever the case is. And so then 2 times a day she cooks is another chore she does. She comes out and makes eggs, probably about 9 or 10 o'clock, roughly. Then again at about 3 o'clock, she'll cook a supper, whatever that is. It's always a meat product because we're carnivores. So it's not hard to cook. The thing I continuously argue, a lot of people don't seem to understand, is the idea of people who say that Carolyn's too old to do this or she shouldn't have to do this, you're abusing her. I get this all the time. First of all, she doesn't even collect Social Security yet. She's not old enough to collect Social Security, so I don't know how she's old. Most people have to work until 65 or 70, but we have figured out a way that we don't have to get up at 5 o'clock every morning, go to work, kill ourselves for an employer, come back home, and then on the weekends, if there's any time available, do some grocery shopping, do the dishes, do the laundry. Everything's on our schedule. As far as the tiny house, I mean, I kind of touched on it earlier in this video, but think about this. Instead of having several rooms that you got to vacuum or sweep, well, vacuum, I wouldn't imagine most homes have carpeting now. She takes about 4 minutes to sweep up in the house. Now, of course, we have firewood, so that brings in a lot of mess, and I try to pick up my mess as much as possible, but I always seem to miss some. But she sweeps, I don't know, 2 or 3, 4 times a week, and it just takes her a few seconds. It's not that big of a chore. There's plenty of room for us and plenty of room for the cat. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was talking about how Carolyn does cook that chicken food. So if I can inspire you to take a break from life so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.